Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm here to tell you that you probably shouldn't buy the SPC Maker 95 EP. Now, SPC Maker has got this knack of having a really great idea and then piling a load of decent components on a frame, but then just implementing it poorly, and I think that's what's happened here. And I don't think there's an excuse for it because, you know, their prices are fairly high, and that is the case with this model. Now, it caught my interest because it's a one-cell brushless micro, and it's quite a niche area of the hobby. There's not a lot of components and certainly not a lot of RTF models. But at the making of this video, I think my favorite one-cell brushless model is the Trainer 90. Now, I had this one as a kit and it's really lightweight, it's got loads of power, and it's my favorite one. The Bat 100 also comes very close to this as well. Now, like I say, they had a great idea with this. So the components are top notch. We have got Sunny Sky motors. They are the 705 15,000 kV, so, you know, a reputable brand and a good quality motor. Even have the naked bottoms on there. And then I like the idea of the flight controller because it's an all-in-one, so it's an F3 flight controller, but it's also 4 amp BL Halley S D-Shot 600 ESCs. So yes, just the one board in there, and we've got a Betaflight on-screen display. So, you know, we've got one of these CMOS all-in-one cameras, and that just connects to it, so you get Betaflight on-screen display, 25 milliwatt. We've got a linear antenna. It comes as a bind and fly. This one actually came with a Futaba receiver, but I've had to switch that out, so I've got a little D8 receiver there. There's not much room for the receiver, I should say, so I've had to stick it on the back. But it's got a buzzer, and yeah, it seems like a really decent package, you know. The frame's a little bit flimsy, but you have to do that with the one cell. And then we've got a 2mm pitch JST connector. You're not given any instructions. We've got a rubber band here. You're not given a battery, so they recommend a 500 milliamp 1S. So I've got a few of those, but I plugged it all in, set up Betaflight. I needed a full setup. In fact, the UART wasn't even selected correctly on the receiver, so I had to switch it from UART 1 to UART 3. It only had Betaflight version 3.17, so that needed updating. So as I say, for the price, it needed a full setup, so a downside already there. Just notice as well, we've got this sort of medical tape on the arms for the wires. It's a really neat model. However, I plugged everything in, I armed it, and I was getting crazy yaw oscillations, and I just couldn't tune it out. But if you notice, something that's interesting with this board is the IMU is isolated there. So can you see we've got a little ribbon there? And they haven't soft mounted it, it's just on a bit of sticky tape, so all of the vibrations from these motors are just going straight through to the gyro. Now, I would have thought that the gyro would have been designed to stick to the bottom of this so that we don't have the vibrations from the frame, and then maybe use some foam to combat that. But out of the box, that is not the case, and it just shakes itself to death, and the motors get really warm. So as it is out of the box, I cannot recommend it. So it's quite a windy day here today, which isn't ideal for flying a one-cell brushless micro, but I just want to show you that the vibrations are so intense that even in angle mode it won't fly. So I'm gonna have to be quick. So I've armed it here, and I've got full aileron, full pitch, and there's just no control whatsoever, so I'm gonna have to flick it into acro, and you can probably hear it juddering around. That is not the tune. The tune does not make a difference. These motors are getting really warm and just not fun to fly, which isn't great out of the box. And if I can do even a punch out, so the punch isn't bad despite all of that jittering that's going on. Punch isn't bad at all, but I cannot fly it with it yawing around like that. So I did find a solution to the problem, albeit short-lived. So my first idea was to put some thicker foam underneath the IMU here, because it wasn't on foam, it was just a sticky pad. And I tried that, and surprise, surprise, it didn't work. You know, the IMU is sat on this very thin carbon plate that is connected directly to the motors. So what did work was carefully removing the sticky tape with this blade here, and then putting it on some foam on the top of the flight controller, and that fixed the problem. That did cause another issue though, because this is elevated on some standoffs to give room for the IMU underneath, and then the top plate wouldn't fit on without interfering with the IMU. So I actually did one flight with it with the top off, and it flew nicely actually. But then I plugged the battery in, and this was happening. You hear that sequence there? And I plug it into the computer, and it's not recognizing a COM port, so the flight controllers died. So, you know, SPC Maker, I cannot accept this. You know, we talk about hashtag ruining the hobby. That's this sort of thing to me, and it's no good, so I'm going to tell you to avoid it. And it's not a very entertaining video, but hopefully it will help some of you if you are thinking of getting this. My verdict is avoid. So there you go, that is my video on the SPC Maker 95 EP. I'll link to my Patreon in the below if you can afford to do so, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.